Haunting Adeline is one of those books that almost guarantees disagreement. Some readers describe it as gripping, disturbing in a purposeful way, and emotionally intense. Others describe it as irresponsible, harmful, or impossible to finish. What's interesting isn't just that people disagree, it's how strongly they disagree. The same scenes that feel meaningful to one reader feel unforgivable to another. So today, I want to talk about why this book divides readers so sharply, not to defend it and not to condemn it, but to understand the psychology behind the reaction. At its core, Haunting Adeline follows a woman who becomes entangled with a man who stalks, controls, and ultimately forces a relationship with her. The story blends dark romance with thriller elements and a broader mystery plot. The controversy centers on how the book depicts power, consent, and intimacy, particularly in scenes that many readers interpret as coercive or non-consensual. But that description alone doesn't explain the reaction. Plenty of dark romance novels contain transgressive or disturbing material without provoking this level of division. So what's different here? One of the most important concepts for understanding the response to Haunting Adeline is reader complicity. Complicity doesn't mean agreement. It doesn't mean approval. It means the reader is placed in a position where they see everything, understand what is happening, and must decide whether to continue. The book rarely offers distance. Scenes are explicit, prolonged, and immersive. The narrative does not consistently pull away, soften the framing, or reassure the reader with moral commentary. As a result, the reader becomes something like a witness, and witnesses feel responsibility. For some readers, that responsibility is fascinating. It forces reflection. For others, it feels intolerable, because continuing to read starts to feel like participation rather than observation. That sensation is uncomfortable by design, and discomfort is where the divide begins. Many books are dark. Not all dark books provoke moral anxiety. Haunting Adeline doesn't just present disturbing actions, it places them inside a romantic framework without consistently instructing the reader how to judge them. That ambiguity is intentional but risky. The book asks the reader to sit inside unresolved questions. What counts as consent when power is uneven? Does attraction excuse harm? Is understanding a character the same as excusing them? For readers who want clear ethical framing, this feels like a failure. For readers who enjoy moral ambiguity, it feels like the point. The discomfort isn't about shock. It's about interpretation without guidance. Many dark romance novels create distance in subtle ways. They imply rather than show. They lean on fantasy settings. They rely on unreliable narrators. Or they clearly frame transgression as wrong, even when eroticized. Haunting Adeline often does the opposite. It stays close, it lingers. It keeps the reader inside scenes that would normally be abbreviated or softened. This proximity removes safety. The reader can't say, "This is just symbolic," or "This is exaggerated fantasy." The events feel immediate and personal. That stylistic choice is one reason the book feels so different and so polarizing. Another reason some readers accept the relationship and even find it compelling is that the book uses real psychological mechanisms that can create genuine emotional attachment. These include trauma bonding, familiarity through repeated exposure, and the human tendency to confuse intensity with intimacy. When someone alternates threat with care, fear with protection, distance with closeness, the emotional bond can feel profound, even if it's unhealthy. The book doesn't invent this dynamic. It reflects patterns that exist in real psychology. For some readers, recognizing these patterns makes the story feel disturbingly authentic. For others, that realism is exactly what makes it unacceptable. Both reactions come from the same place. For many readers, the ethical line isn't ambiguous. It's crossed. They argue that the book normalizes sexual violence, romanticizes stalking, or frames coercion as destiny or desire for survivors, or readers sensitive to representation. The experience can feel invalidating or triggering, and because the book does not consistently pause to condemn these actions, some readers feel the narrative itself becomes complicit. From that perspective, rejecting the book isn't about taste, it's about harm. On the other side, some readers describe the book as cathartic. They see it as a space to explore fear, control, and obsession without real-world consequences. For them, the appeal lies in intensity, not endorsement. Others focus on the thriller and mystery elements, arguing that the relationship is part of a larger narrative about confronting evil. And some readers simply value fiction as a space where moral discomfort is allowed, even necessary. To them, banning discomfort feels more dangerous than engaging with it. One of the most important distinctions here is the difference between authorial intent and reader impact. An author may intend to provoke reflection, tension, or psychological realism. A reader may still experience harm, discomfort, or rejection. Both can be true at the same time. Understanding why a book works for some readers does not require dismissing the harm it causes for others, and acknowledging a harm does not require denying the book's literary or psychological power. So why does Haunting Adeline divide readers? Because it refuses distance, because it implicates the reader, because it places moral discomfort at the center of the experience rather than resolving it. Some readers find that honesty compelling, others find it unacceptable. Neither response is wrong. The division itself is the book's legacy, and perhaps its most honest feature. If you've read Haunting Adeline, I'm curious, did it make you reflect, recoil, or both?